Now, as we listen to this first track, one characteristic I want you to keep in mind and listen for is how, here in Home is a Green Hill, the word home is very much rhymes with the word ohm, home and ohm. And it's a great example of how the lyrics subtly reinforce the qualities of the song itself. And in fact, try listening to it here, thinking of the word home and thinking of ohm instead. So let's go to that song now.
Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing the trail far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near. Home's the end of the fray. Home is my heart's land, home's where I am. Nothing can dim the light of my soul. Home is forever, home is today. Home's a heart that is whole. Often I dream that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. But when I'm silent, freed from all care, I discover my home's everywhere. Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing the trail far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near. Home's the end of the
So ohm, which again rhymes with home, and you hear that sound many times in the song, is the Holy Spirit spoken of in the Bible as the Comforter. And it's the vibration in which, when you're in ohm, nothing can harm you. And that's something that Yogananda had said. And if you think about it, it's really to say that when you're in ohm, which is to say you're one with all of vibratory creation, then how can any of that creation harm you? Because how can it harm itself? Listening to this song, I often feel so just deeply supported, as if I'm backed by the entirety of creation. It's something that I can rest into and, very, very much feel secure in and feel supported. And so it's very little surprise that Swami Kriyananda assigned this song to the quality of insecurity in day 24 of Secrets of Emotional Healing. And here's what he wrote there. He said, the secret of overcoming insecurity is to visualize yourself as seated at the heart of infinity. For the universe, as far as your own awareness is concerned, is centered in yourself. Send forth rays of love and goodwill and faith to all, and life will sustain you in every difficulty. So you can very much see, as I mentioned here, it's just not just insecurity, but anytime you're feeling unsupported by people, by your job, by the world around you, try listening to this song and feeling that sense of oneness with creation, oneness that support is there if you but tune into it. And in that same way, when you feel that support and you feel that connection with all around you, it also works for feelings of isolation as well as feelings of loneliness. Not in that personal interactive way, but that just feeling like you're cut off from the rest of reality, that you're cut off from creation. So the song can help overcome that sense of loneliness. Now with Om as the comforter, home as a green hill is also very soothing and calming, as well as very interiorizing, because if you think about it, you can't truly become interiorized if you don't feel safe enough to withdraw your awareness from the senses. So I really recommend taking this song into meditation, because it brings you into the heart of your being, not just in terms of lifting energy from the heart chakra, which it does and we'll talk about, but it really brings you into the spine, and then addresses not only that insecurity of feeling unsupported, but also that scatteredness of where your energy's been going out into the world and looking for security and looking for answers and looking for, somehow whatever it is you're seeking, looking for that outside of yourself. And that's why we get scattered, investing our energies outside. So that centering quality, that interiorization or pratyahara, as it's said in Patanjali, really helps overcome, those worries and also the worldly disappointments that we get when we invest ourselves outside of ourselves, and just the world of Maya will inevitably disappoint us. As the song says in that line toward the end, often I dreamed that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. Really referring, I think, to the expectations that we have of worldly or sense pleasures, but of course those are never fulfilling. And so the song gives the answer, but when I'm silent, freed from all care. So the but has the contrast to the expectations, and then the answer, but when I'm silent, freed from all care, I discover my home's everywhere. So we don't have to be scattered looking for it, because we're at home everywhere we are. So when you're silenced, when you've silenced the desires, not just the silence of the voice or the silence of the hearing, but really silencing all of the senses, silencing the desires, silencing expectations and being free from those expectations, then no longer do we need to reach outside of ourselves, and we can commune with God, commune with creation. So then there's no possibility of worldly disappointment or insecurity. Now throughout the song, Home as a Green Hill in its different verses also serves to lift, like I said, energy from the heart chakra up to the spiritual eye, while also simultaneously redefining or refining one's definition of what we call home. Now, normally we think of home as a place, which is acknowledged by that very first phrase, home is a green hill. The song is very beautiful. It starts in the heart, and it says, yes, we expect home to be a place, and a green hill being one of those just beautiful imagery, especially with this song being first put out on the Mystic Harp album, which was music for Ireland, and there's, of course, a lot of green hills there. But right away then, the song takes us into a different definition. So home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. And that's saying that home is not just a place, but it's a kind of force or even a state of being, that's something you can trust. Home is a place and a feeling of trust, something that, again, you can be very secure in. And then the song refines that idea even further. Home is the knowledge, heaven is near, home's the end of the fray. And heaven and end of the fray really imply a state of rest in which there's no longer any effort or striving or that ambition to try to find something, to find that security, to find that peace. It's really saying home is the state of peacefulness, which is then that anxiety, the antidote for anxiety and for agitation alongside scatteredness. And I'm amused here when I think about the movie trilogy of The Hobbit that was put out a few years ago, and one scene that's the emotional climax of that movie, where the dwarf king Thorin, who's having braved all these adventures and intense battles in his quest for glory and riches, acknowledges ultimately that it might all be for naught. And so he's addressing Bilbo Baggins, the simple-minded hobbit whose home is a green hill, and the hobbit Bilbo simply dreams of being back at his green hill with his armchair and his books. That, to him, is the home. And Thorin's last words as he's dying in the movie, he says to Bilbo, if more people valued home above gold, the world would be a merrier place. And, it's amusing to me to think that, here we, at that point you've probably watched 8 hours of the movies put together. And, the movies, I think, was something like a budget of $650 million to get to that one point where he could make that statement. And Home is a Green Hill, accomplishes that much more effectively in a couple of minutes without any cost whatsoever. So anyway, we have that acknowledgement in the heart of home being a place, but home also being a state of mind, of peacefulness, of the end of the fray. In the second verse, then, we refine the definition of home still further. Home is my heart's land, home's where I am. Nothing can dim the light of my soul. The heart's land is the soul, or you might say the spine in yourself, which is the heart of one's being. Home's where I am is a very clear sense of self, which again is in the spine, or as Yogananda described it after he had an experience of cosmic consciousness, he said, a point of intuitive perception in my own heart. So the heart is even, you might say, the center of the spine itself. And then to say, nothing can dim the light of my soul, speaks to the truth of the eternal light within each one of us, that eternal part of our being that is, in fact, our true home. And musically, on that line, we have, home is my heart's land, which lifts the energy from the heart chakra up to the throat chakra. Musically, many of those notes that just go up tend to lift the energy in the spine. And that movement is then reinforced with another upswing of the melody on the line that follows the previous phrase, home is forever, home is today, which speaks to our eternal nature again, but also the eternity of the present moment. That word today is poetic to say it's the now, it's here, it's the present moment. That's home as well, being present and not being scattered into the past or into the future. And then finally in that verse we settle back into that line, home's a heart that is whole. That is, our true home is a full, self-realized center, a heart or a spine realized in the truth of our oneness with God, with Om, where of course there is security and peace and trust. And then we have that interlude verse that I mentioned before, that often I dreamed that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. And that is moving energy up to the medulla, which is where the ego is. And the ego is what harbors all the hopes and wishes of outer fulfillment and finding security outside of ourself. And then we have the contrast again. But when I'm silent, freed from all care, it's that high note again that lifts it from that brief sojourn at the medulla up to here at the spiritual eye, where we do have that that sense of rest and peace away from all of those ambitions and hopes that will get dashed. We rest here at the spiritual eye. And then what we normally do is we either sing the first verse again, or sometimes you sing the song again, coming back through. And as with many songs where there's a repetition of the first verse or multiple verses, it's like we've brought the energy to the spiritual eye and we go back through all of the sentiments of the song and purify them more deeply with spiritual wisdom, burning away any delusions that we might have. In this case, any delusions that we may still have that home is anywhere but in God. And then there's one last little thing, if you noticed it at the end of the song, and you can listen for it in the next recording, where we have, instead of the first time through, we do, home's the end of the fray. We have, home's the end of the... I'm not singing it right, but that word end goes up at that point, different from the beginning of the song, to gently, again, keep the energy here up at the spiritual eye. And so, Home is a Green Hill is this amazing song, really, that can help calm any number of these negative emotions to do with insecurity and disappointment and worry and anxiety, and help you interiorize, in fact, for meditation. Like I said before, going deep in meditation is really very dependent on being able to let go of everything outside of yourself and rest deeply in the spine and rest into the spiritual eye. And Home is a Green Hill is remarkably effective to that end. So the next track that we'll listen to now is from Swami Ananda singing the song from Windows on the World is the recording. And so enjoy it with that, and joy to you.
Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near. Home's the end of the fray. Home is my heart's land, home's where I am. Nothing can dim the light of my soul. Home is forever, home is today. Home's a heart that is whole. Often I dream that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. But when I'm silent, freed from all care, I discover my home's everywhere. Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near. Home's the end of the fray. Home is my heart's land, home's where I am. Nothing can dim the light of my soul. Home is forever, home is today. Home's a heart that is whole. Often I dream that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. But when I'm silent, freed from all care, I discover my home's everywhere. Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near. Home's the end of the fray.